Read that. Isaiah 30 verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 30 verse 1. Woe unto the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not with my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that work to go down into Egypt.
All right, so you can physically walk to go down into Egypt. This is the time period when Moses delivered the children of Israel. Now it says that they were a rebellious people. Who do you think the most rebellious people on the face of the earth are today? Who do you think are the most rebellious people? You don't think it was us? So if it's not us, can you think of another nation who's more rebellious than us as a people? Edomites. Where did you get that terminology from, Edomites? What do you understand from that term? So, educate me. What does Edomite mean?
Don't worry, I know what it means.
Okay, alright. So, read that again.
That walk to go into Egypt, and have not arms at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in their strength.
Is that it? Okay. So, the children of Israel are a rebellious people. Let's get some pictorial pictures up for the public. So the nations have never known this because they've never been given the laws to break. You won't find another nation on the face of the earth that had yokes of iron put on their neck, that went into slavery on slave ships, and when they came off those ships, they were sold to slave masters. Read that again. Want you all to join the dots. This is for you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You are the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Read.
Verse 20.
I'll read it again from the top.
Verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgment, they have not known them.
So the nations don't know the judgments of God yet. You understand? They were not given the commandments of God to break. Only us as a nation were given the laws. Now go ahead, sis. Was slavery one of our curses? Very good question. Now, just in mind, what's your name again? Okay, I wasn't sure. So, do you mind sharing? Els. Okay, Michael. Pleased to meet you, Els. All right. So your question is, was slavery one of our curses? Go to Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1. Was slavery one of our curses? Has the curses been lifted? Some very good questions. So that's two questions you've asked, which requires two answers. So let's deal with the first question first. Let's get the context of who Moses is speaking to. Deuteronomy 1 verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan, in the wilderness, in the plain, against the Red Sea.
So this is the children of Israel on the other side by the Red Sea. So they've just come through the Red Sea. So Moses is speaking to the children of Israel. Deuteronomy 1 verse 1. That's the context the nation is speaking to. We're going to stay in the same book because it's the same people that Moses is speaking to. I don't want to lose you. Go to 28 and verse 1. Now this is going to answer your first question. Read this. Now this is the flip side of being obedient. Watch this.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments, and to observe, to do all his commandments, which I commanded this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So the children of Israel, when they were given the law, statutes, and commandments by Moses, if they were obedient, God will set them on high, not equal to, on high, above all nations that are upon the face of the earth. Right. You so-called black man and woman, aren't you tired of being in captivity? Having to get up 9 to 5 to work for your oppressor? Right. Aren't you tired of that?
Bring it out.
Don't you want to be on top?
Bring it out.
Read it again. This is the blessing if we were obedient. Read.
Verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments, which I commanded this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So God will set his children, the children of Israel, all 12 tribes, above all nations if they were obedient. Now, if they're disobedient, this is what's going to happen. Here comes the answer to question number 1L. 15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments, and his statutes, which are commanded this day, that all these curses,
All these what?
all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So no matter where we go, we can't outrun the curses of God if we disobey his commandments. All these curses would come upon the children of Israel if we disobeyed the commandments that Moses handed to our forefathers. Now let's see some of the curses, because it's 2022 now. These curses are only going to fit a certain people to a T.
My question, what was the second question actually?
Okay, please remind me. Please remind me.
When was the curse lifted?
When was
No,
the...
is the curse lifted?
Okay, is the curse lifted? Give me Revelation 22 and verse 3, I believe it is. Revelation 22 verse 3. That's a good question.
The book of Revelation chapter 22 and verse 3.
So here's the answer to your question from the scriptures.
And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it.
So at the moment we're still under the curses. But read it again. This is future tense. Read.
The book of Revelation chapter 22 and verse 3. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it.
Now it means, let's put it into context so you'll understand this. We know we went into captivity. Hold this up because we're going to wrap up now. We know that we went into captivity, but we didn't go into captivity by ourselves. Somebody had to do this, an oppressor. Go to Jeremiah chapter 30, because when the curses are lifted off the Israelites, God's going to place those curses on somebody else. Watch this. Jeremiah 30 and 16.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 16.
Read out.
Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured.
So all those that devour the children of Israel, they're going to be devoured. Read.
That's right.
And all thine adversaries,
everybody that's got an adverse thoughts, hatred against the children of Israel, read.
every one of them
Not 99.9% and 0.1% is going to escape. Every one of them is going to be caught up in this thing.
shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey.
See that? So the children of Israel, if we keep these commandments when Christ comes back, the black Messiah, not the fake Caucasian that they push in churches, when he comes back and he finds his sons and daughters keeping the commandments, not being an abomination unto him, the curses will be lifted then. You understand?
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.